Welcome to our Friday update. I know it's been a while since we've done one of these, but there hasn't been a whole lot of information out there that was new. So we didn't want to make videos just for the purpose of making them. So now it's August 21st, and we do have some new information that we need to go over with you that has gone out since the last video update, and just some things that we need to talk about. So let's get to it. The first thing is we have the new temporary operations plan that went out to everyone this week regarding the quarantine and how the 80 hours of sick leave from the FFCRA, that is the Family's First Coronavirus Act, information that went out from city administration to our people when all this stuff first started. Well, Toledo Fire, along with many other departments across the state, could not sustain the number of quarantines that we were having by allowing everyone to take that time off just from being possibly exposed. So it wasn't just Toledo Fire, again, departments across the state, and we spent a lot of time talking to some of those other departments, even what's called an Ohio Metro Chiefs conference call, and most of the departments were having similar issues. They wanted to extend the benefits to our people. They were also quarantining their people similar to the process that we were using, and we were all having issues with staffing. So obviously we have a service to provide, so we needed to change some of that. With the quarantining, you guys know there's a new flow sheets that came out, and the HWOs, when you give them a call, they will advise you as to whether or not you need to be quarantined. And now if you are possibly exposed but asymptomatic, we need our people to still come to work. We can't just quarantine everyone as a precaution when the data doesn't show that that was justified. So we're changing the way we're doing that. We need folks to come to work unless they're symptomatic, and just when you come to work, make sure that you're taking the necessary precautions with your face coverings, the social distancing, and we just had to do something different. Along with that, as you may have heard, we requested that the captains of all the stations submit a social distancing and face covering plan for their individual stations. That request or suggestion actually came from Local 92 leadership, so I thank them for that. We sent out the request to the captains, and we have received all of those plans from those captains, so I'm sure they're enacting that within their own stations, and we appreciate that input. And there were some really good ideas that some of them had, and we got them from every station, and even some of our relief captains that go around to the stations. So thank you for that, and for any of our other firefighters in those stations who may have provided some constructive input to that, thank you very much. And I think it's going to work out, and we needed to make sure that our people were more involved, since you live in the stations. So thanks to Local 92's suggestion, hopefully we get more buy-in with what we need to do to make sure that our people are safe in the stations. Related topic. We noticed that there has been more use of the disinfectant sprayers. 2 of our stations, there was almost none left, and even a couple of the stations had to be refilled because they were using it all. So kudos to you for taking the effort to use the equipment that we provided you to disinfect the rigs and our other equipment. So thank you for that. As you know, we've had a couple of engines in the recent past that had to be put into rescue squads because we had no reserve engines. 2 rigs had diesel fuel tank issues that necessitated the tanks either being repaired or replaced. And as you all know, we had spare apparatus issues anyway. We did not have enough of them. Good news is the fuel tanks did come in, so they are being installed on engine 17 and engine 6 hopefully today, so they will have their regular rigs back. And one of the new engines is actually on the way and should be here this afternoon. This is again Friday at 09:47, and hopefully one of our new engines will be here this afternoon. It's going to be a week and a half to 2 weeks before it's actually put into service because of all the ancillary things that still need to be done to it. The MDTs, the docks, the radios, and so forth. But we are starting to see some progress with that. The delays were due to some issues with the vendor and some things that had to be changed. So Chief Soroka and Craig Ellis were on top of it, and hopefully we got those things corrected. And again, one of the rigs should be here this afternoon. When we had the engines operating out of squads, we had some concerns voiced by some of our folks who were very valid concerns. For instance, Engine 9 and Engine 5 at one time were operating out of rescue squads because we didn't have spare engines. If we ever get in that situation again, what we do is we have the shop notify dispatch that that engine is now in a rescue squad, and we also need the officers on those units, when they're responding especially to a structure fire, to remind dispatch that they are in a squad and they don't have a rig with water. So the officers need to remind dispatch of that so that we can make sure we supplement our response with the necessary equipment to get us enough water at the scene. No different than what we've been doing with the 3-person engines. If a medic unit is out, and it's one of the 2 engine companies that has a 3-person engine, if the medic unit was out, they were responding with a 3-person engine, they notified dispatch of that. Well, we need you to do the same thing when, if we're in a rig other than an engine, such as what happened in the last couple of weeks with the rescue squads. One of the other issues that we're having is with the payment of acting time for those riding the seat on the medic units. There have been some inconsistencies with what people are submitting for payment for acting time, and we're going to go to a new method that's going to accomplish 2 things. It's going to take away the paperwork regarding it. It's kind of crazy that we are still in a time with modern technology that we use these acting slips the way that we do. So we're going to try to fix that with some technology. We are going to use the information from the CAD and the ESO reports to make that determination of when acting time is going to be paid. It will be automatic, pulled from the information from the medic units and the CAD and the times, and it'll take out the need for our people to submit acting slips for every run that they go on when they are riding the seat of a medic unit. Because right now we've had some medic unit submitting acting slips, or the person riding the seat of the medic unit submitting acting slips for going to fires, for going on a cardiac arrest where the engine, the medic unit, and a life squad were dispatched. So that's not the appropriate paying of acting time. It's for specific instances, and getting the information from the CAD and from the ESO report allows us to hone that down so people can get the appropriate acting time for the work that they do. That is not implemented yet, but it is coming very soon, and we'll let you know when that gets enacted. Something will come out in writing about it, but we wanted to give you a heads up that that's happening. Damage to our docks for our MDTs and tablets. We've had an uptick in damage to the docks, and we need to make sure that people are being as gentle as they possibly can with that equipment. It's expensive, and we're not sure yet if some of the issues is with the equipment or whether it's the way we're handling it. These things are new, but we need to make sure that we're doing everything on our end physically to take care of our equipment. So wanted to remind you to do that, and we just got to take care of our stuff, folks. Final thing, staffing. There have been some days where we have fallen below minimum staffing. None of us want that to happen. We're limited by the confines of the contract with who is recalled. And we've done a lot of what we can. Actually, I don't know what else we could do to notify people that we need folks to come into work. For instance, we have people sign up on the recall list. Then when we call, we get a significant number of people who don't answer their phones. We then send out multiple Wednesdays that nobody responds to. So the minimum staffing, it's there for a reason. And we've got to answer the phones, we've got to answer the Wednesdays. And there have been some potential solutions that were recommended by some people. And one of those was that we call in lieutenants and captains and we can't fill private spots. That's not an acceptable solution. The solving of the staffing issues can't be one-sided. We are not being fiscally responsible to the taxpayers and the city administration who we have to answer to if I'm recalling lieutenants and captains for private spots because the privates aren't answering the phones when they signed up for recall and they aren't answering the WINSs. That's not a fair request. So we're doing everything we can to keep our minimum staffing the way we all want it to be. It's what's needed, and it's what's safe, and it's what the citizens need. So when you sign up for recall, please answer the phone and answer the WINSs when we get in those binds where those are the last resorts. So there's been times where we've sent out 10 WINSs with no response. You know, we understand that our staffing levels are steadily going down for several reasons. And one of those reasons is we need firefighters. We know that. We need to hire more classes. We've been working with the city administration to get that done. We are looking at a class this spring of 50 people. But again, those are long-term solutions. And in the interim, we need to do what we have to do to provide the service that we're obligated to provide. We want the classes. Sometimes we're financially handcuffed with our ability to get them. But we're working on it. But that class isn't an immediate fix. Getting people to answer the phones and to come in helps us out with that. We all want minimum staffing. We all want everyone to be safe. We can't just look at right now, we've got to look at long term. So again, didn't want to end on a sour note, but it's information and things that we need to talk about. So until next time, please be safe. And if you have any questions, submit them to Butch Ray or the Office of the Fire Chief, and we'll try to get them answered for you in the next video. Thanks.